Good afternoon, everyone. We have King's College London International Officer, Ms. Dolan Mitra, who's kindly given us some time to give a presentation on King's College, various departments, entry requirements, accommodation, and answer any queries that you have. I'd request Ms. Dolan to start the webinar, please. So Dolan, if you can just pause yourself, we can't hear you. Just check that again, please. Yes, if you try.
No?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Please
So
start.
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dolan, and I am the Education Advisor for King's College London. Well, I'm based in Mumbai, but I do have another colleague who is based in Delhi. So I'm not sure where you guys are from. So we have divided our zones like this. North and East is looked after by Shweta, who's my colleague, and I look after South and West. So if wherever you are based, accordingly, you can connect with us. I will share you our email IDs so that in case you have further queries after the presentation, then please do write to us in case your queries are not met with in this session. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. So before I start, I just want to give you the flow of the presentation today. So about 20 minutes, I'll be talking about King's College London. Okay, I'll try to include as much information as possible. And we have quite some time beyond that, I think about 40 minutes or so, to take on questions, right? So feel free to ask me whatever questions that you may have. And in case you come up with some questions later, Ranveer is always there, and I'm there, and Shweta is there to take care of those. Okay, right. So, okay, so I've already given you my introduction and Shweta's introduction. So there you are. So we will go on to the next slide. Well, I'm sure most of you have heard of King's College London by now. King's is a pretty old institution and a prestigious institution. So we were founded in 1829 by none other than the King George IV and the Duke of Wellington. Now, right now, we are ranked about 31st in the world. So we can proudly say that we have maintained our standards and our traditions right to the modern age. Well, we are a part of the Russell Group, which means that we are a research-led institution. And I'll speak about the research element a little later. We have been teaching, various kind of subjects from a very long time, from arts and social sciences to medicine, health sciences, and so on. Now, one interesting fact is that we were the founding college of the University of London, and we are the 4th oldest university in England after Oxford, Cambridge, and the UCL. Okay, now we are right in the heart of London. I'll just go to the next slide and just show you where we are. If you can see the London Eye right in the middle, I think everybody is more or less familiar with the London Eye. So this is the heart of the city, all right, heart of London. And this is essentially the best place to be as a student, I feel. Now, if you see the red boxes, they basically are associated with King's. So we have about 6 campuses, let's say roughly on either side of the river. So we have our business school and our law and arts and social sciences on the north side of the river, which is the Strand side. and we have about 4 more campuses on the southern side of the river, right? So we teach our sciences, our medicine, dentistry, health sciences on the southern side. Now, the London advantage, yeah, I mean, maybe you will not be able to appreciate it right now, but once you are in London and you're in central London, and when you see that you are literally surrounded by everything that's important, important in London, you know, uh, it's a huge advantage because you're not only exposed to wonderful professors in the classrooms, but you're also exposed to all these important institutions. uh, Whatever you may study, whether it is media, arts, political science, law, sciences, all the important institutions are there. And it's not just that we are close to these institutions, we have connections with them, different kinds of connections. There are research connections, there are connections where we run courses along with certain institutions. For example, if you are interested in English, we run this program called MA Shakespeare Studies, and this is done in collaboration with the Shakespeare's Globe. So it's a huge opportunity for those who are interested in this area to be doing that course. Right. Similarly, we have a new course, for example, which we call Finance Analytics. Now, this particular course has been designed by HSBC and King's. In fact, HSBC and the industry came up with this idea and with this course, and asked us to run it because they felt that there was a lot of need for these kind of professionals, and they were not really finding that many in the sector. So and like this, there are several other connections. Another very important aspect of the location is that because we are in central London, we get a lot of important, eminent people coming down to the campus and giving lectures, meeting students, having workshops. A lot of employers come down. We have 300 career events throughout the year. And in some events, we have to turn away companies, because they want to come to the campus and talk to the students. So this essentially happens not only because we are prestigious, but also because we are in the right place. Of course, there are wonderful institutions, far from the city, but because all the action is here, you will get these people to actually come down. So really senior people come down and give lectures. For example, we've had the head of Bank of England coming down and give a lecture. Eminent people who are like doing research at the international level. They're at the forefront of that particular topic. We've had the London head of Google coming down and giving a talk. Similarly, people from Facebook, CEOs of other tech companies, fintech companies, and so on, they will come down and interact with students. Okay. All right. Now, coming back to facts and figures, we have about 30,000 students. It's a pretty, big university, and the good thing is that about 11,000 of them are from all over the world, and also about 40% of the academic staff are also from all over the world. And we have about 415 students from India. Of course, this number increases every year. Now, I think this is a good mix. I mean, if you really want to be only with Indian students, then you'd rather, do your higher studies in India. Whereas, if you are going abroad, then the whole idea is to mix with as many different kinds of minds as possible, to get your ideas, to get your perspectives, to develop and mature your mind, to gain contacts, networking. I mean, you'll have this opportunity of networking with so many different kinds of people from different kinds of countries, and they will be with you for life. So you never know when they will come in handy, at which time of your life. Okay, so we have about 9 faculties, all right, from arts and humanities to the business school, and well, lots of courses are taught in each of these faculties. All right. Sorry, have I lost connection?
We can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, great. All right. So 9 faculties. Okay, then we have within the 9 faculties, there are lots of courses that we teach. You can see the list. I would tell you that you look at the website and see what courses are on offer, because there are quite a few. If I tell you more than 10, you will not remember even one, right? So that I will have to leave it with you. Okay. Now, if any of you are interested in foundation courses are basically done by students who are studying the state board, right? And in certain cases, other boards also are eligible to apply for certain courses only. Essentially, because we don't accept the state boards for direct entry into our undergraduate program, they have to do 1 year of foundation before they can start the undergraduate program. So we offer quite a few foundation courses, and depending on what you want to study at the undergraduate level, you have to pick a particular pathway, right? Okay. Now, where research is concerned, see, one thing you must understand, that if you want to study in a good university, then you must see how good the university is in research. Because unless the university is very strong in research, it will not deliver high quality undergrad and postgrad taught programs. Okay, so you may feel that I want to study, let's say, a postgraduate taught program. So what is it? What has that got to do with research? It has a lot of connection with research, because all the professors who will be teaching you are doing research, right? And if they are doing research at the highest level, at the international level, then that means that you will be learning from the books that they are writing or they have written, or from the research that is happening, right? So you learn the latest that is there in the field. You learn about the unique things. So that is a great way to learn, and all that trickles down into our master's and undergraduate programs. Okay, and also every program has 1/3. Let's say where master's programs are concerned, 1/3 of the program is a research and dissertation. So every program has it. Now that is where you have to do your research and write a dissertation, and it kind of helps you to understand the subject in a different way. And that is actually the education system in the West, where you learn through your own research, right? And that is at times the best way of learning something. Of course, you are guided and you are marked and so on. So, of course, there's a particular process in place, but that is how you actually gain deep insights into a particular subject area. Right, and we are particularly good in research, where you can see one of our rankings is 16th in the world for clinical, preclinical, and health research. Right, and this means that we are one of the best places in the world where research and innovation is concerned. Okay, we've produced a lot of extraordinary people from King's. For example, you may have heard of Rosalind Franklin. Now, she discovered the structure of the gene. She was the first person to see the X-ray image of the gene, and unfortunately, she didn't get the Nobel Prize because she died before she could be awarded. Her colleagues, for example, Maurice Wilkins, who was also from King's, got it, and also a couple of guys from Cambridge. Now, similarly, lots of wonderful people have walked through the halls of King's. You may have heard about John Keats, who's written a lot of poems. You may have heard of Professor Peter Higgs, who is credited with the Higgs boson discovery and so on. So lots of people to inspire you. How we teach? Well, we teach through lectures, we teach through seminars. Of course, there are labs, and there are tutorials as well. So in a lecture, in a typical lecture, there would be a lot of students. There could be about 300 students. Then seminars will be smaller groups, and smaller groups of, let's say, 12 to 15 students. The tutorials will be one tutor with 2 or 3 students. So at each and every stage, you are learning more and more about the subject. Okay. And also to mention here that every student has a personal tutor to guide through the academic years. Now, just to give you a sense of what resources we have, then this is one of our libraries. It may ring a bell. If you have seen the Harry Potter films, well, Dumbledore's office is modeled on one of our libraries. This is the one, and this is one obviously spectacle of a library. It's a huge library. Similarly, we have other libraries. Now, libraries are very important. Unless you have good resources, you will not be able to complete your education in the perfect way. So it's important to have these resources, and that's why the university is so good. Okay, now, of course, a lot of study, but we also have a lot of scope for other activities. It's really important to be part of some society or a sports club. We have 300 plus societies and sports clubs. Now, it could be anything from painting to poetry to law societies, business management societies. Sports could be, we have about 50 sports clubs. So whatever sport you're interested in, you could be part of that club, and you could play the sport at a pretty high level because the standards are high. So you could do all this, and this also helps you in improving your network, in improving your whole experience, and also you could do things, serious things in a fun way and add it in your CV as well. We have a lot of study abroad programs, especially for the undergrads. So you could be studying up to a full year study abroad. So either a semester or a full year. Some programs have it inbuilt and some don't, but you can opt for study abroad programs. We have a lot of partners throughout the world. So another way of improving your understanding about the subject, maturing your mind and so on. Now, where careers and employability is concerned, we have a lot of a lot of support given to the students. In British universities or Western universities, you don't get job offers in the campuses. So the employers will come in a workshop or in career fairs. They will interact with you, and a lot of information is exchanged. And they might say that if you have a good profile, so you need to apply. You should apply. So it is really a forum where you understand a lot more about the company, or the employer understands what your profile is and where you lack, and what are your highlights and so on. We also have global internship programs which you can be part of. We have other internships that you can take advantage of. These are more for undergrad students. The internships are more for undergrad students and postgrad, because postgrad is just 1 year and there is not much time to do any other thing apart from what is already there in the course. Okay, so quickly to the application process. Now, if you're applying for a foundation course or a master's program or a postgraduate research program, then you have to apply through the website, all right, or your agent, our partners will help you. Just a moment, I'm getting a call. Just let me respond to this. Okay. Yeah, so so you can take the help of our partner combined company, and they will help you how they will assist you and support you in how to make an application and so on. Now, if you're applying for any undergraduate program, then you have to apply through the UCAS. All right. Now, UCAS is a portal where you can apply to up to 5 universities, and this is only for undergraduate study. So, where postgraduate programs are concerned, our usual deadline is 31st of March. All right. But where undergraduate programs are concerned, if you're applying for any medicine or dentistry courses, then it is 15th of October of the previous year. So for 2020, the deadline will be 15th of October of 2019. Now, for any other courses, it's usually 15th of January. Now, although we look, 15th of October is a very hard deadline for medicine and dentistry. Okay, there is no flexibility at all in that. But in terms of the postgraduate deadline of 31st March and the 15th January deadline of for UG courses, let me tell you that the competitive programs, for example, business management or computer science or psychology, law, they kind of for these kind of courses, this is a pretty hard deadline. But for the other courses, it can continue beyond 31st of March if there are places available. All right. So it's good to check whether you should be applying. If you've missed the deadline, whether you could apply beyond 15th of January for UG or 31st of March for PG courses. Okay. Where UG entry requirements are concerned, of course, it's just a very short forum to kind of take you through all the details. But for medicine, dentistry, it's a different kind of application. There you have to be good in everything, and it's not just the UKCAT. So UKCAT is an additional exam that is required to be done only for medicine and dentistry, and you have to score a very good score out of 3,600. Now every year the score changes because it's in kind of an percentile system. It's an aptitude test, so very difficult to prepare for it as well as tell you what is a good score. Where law is concerned, there is another additional test that we require. It is out of 42. This particular, this exam is called LNAT, and it scores out of 42. And we ask for about, sometimes 25 is a good score, sometimes 26, sometimes 27. Again, it varies year after year, but this is compulsory. These exams are compulsory for these courses. Now, for the other programs, no other additional kind of entrance or qualifying exam is required. Where the other programs are concerned, for law, management, international relations, we usually ask for 90% for those who are studying CBSE and ISC, 90% overall, and in each subject you should be predicted 90% at least. For IB, we ask for a minimum of 35. The higher levels will vary, 766 or 666 or 665. It depends on the course that you're applying to. And A levels, we ask for A star AA. Again, certain courses we can ask for AAA or AAB as well. All right. Now where okay, like I've already mentioned that for state boards, you have to apply for the International Foundation Program. The US system is also there. You can check it up on the net. I hardly get any queries for the APs and the ACTs. So, but that is also something that if it applies to you, then you should have a chat with me. All right. Next, we have PG requirements. Now, PG is well. What we do is we look at the various universities in India as recognized, prestigious, and highly prestigious. Okay, we have got these three categories. For example, IIT is a highly prestigious university, or Delhi University, Mumbai University, Calcutta University. They are also considered to be highly prestigious universities. And then there are certain prestigious universities which are obviously less prestigious than the highly prestigious ones. And then there are some more recognized universities. So the what we ask from each of them will vary depending on the course, right? So usually when we ask for a, in UK terms, high to one, we will probably ask for a 65 or a 70% from certain universities. Okay. And of course, the requirement from prestigious and recognized universities will keep on increasing. All right. So if we ask, for example, if we ask for a 65 from a highly prestigious institution, we will ask for, let's say, a 67 from a prestigious institution, or maybe a 70 from a recognized institution, or even higher. Again, it depends on your grading scale, and so it's a bit complicated. It's complicated because India has a very non-standard system of marking, and a very non-standard scaling system. So we have the GPA system, we have the percentage system, and we also have the grading system. So in the GPA system, there is 10. There are two types of 10s. There is an 8, there's a 7. Now I believe there's a 5, and then there's also a 4. Right. So it's quite complicated. So we have to really understand what your grading scale is, and then accordingly advise you. Right. Now, an English test is required, which I hadn't mentioned for UG, but which I would like to. So for CBSE, ISC, and state boards as well, an IELTS exam is mandatory. There is no waiver of IELTS or TOEFL or the PTE. So the English test is a must. The IB and the A levels are usually exempt from any of these English tests because they are international boards. Where PG is concerned, every course requires an IELTS or the TOEFL or the PTE. We ask for any one of these three exams, any one of these three English exams. And depending on the course, the IELTS requirement will vary. All right. Okay, can I hear some sound from somewhere, because I feel I'm like talking to a wall.
Yes, we're all very much here.
You all are there. All right.
Very much.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have about 15 people who are listening to you right now, and I have requested everyone to post me any questions.
Yeah, I think I'm probably taking longer than 20 minutes, so just stop me when I have to. All right. So a very important aspect of the application is the personal statement. All right. Now, King's takes personal statements very, very seriously. Whether you are applying for an undergrad course or for a PG course, in a personal statement for every course, and for certain courses, it's even more important, right? Now, what do we want to see in a personal statement? Basically, we want to understand, first I'll be talking about, let's say, the master's, the PGT programs. Now, for a PGT program, a master's program, we want to understand why have you selected this particular course, all right? What, how it will help you in your academic objective. What do you hope to gain out of it? All right. And what is your career objective? What is your academic objective? And how everything matches. That is something that we really want to understand. Now, we also want to understand whether this course is a good fit, meaning, are we offering you something that you really want to learn, and are you suitable to study this course at this level? So everything needs to match, right? So, so you need to tell us, what is it that this course excites you? What is there in the course that excites you? That's why it is very important to go through the website, to go through the prospectuses, to understand what this course is all about, what you're going to, what are we going to teach? Because one particular course can have obviously different modules, right? 10 universities may be offering you this particular course, let's say business management. Almost every university will have a course, business management or international management or whatever. But it's what we teach and what somebody else teaches will be different, right? So you need to find out what are we offering you within that particular course, and whether you really want to study it. Of course, that is the first thing. You must study something that you really want to study. And then tell us what you have, how passionate you are about the subject area. That is something that we really want to understand. How engaged you are with the subject area. You may be the topper of your class, but you may be good in a lot of things and maybe not focused towards this subject in particular, right? Now, we actually don't want those kind of students. We want students who are completely focused towards a subject area. They are passionate about the subject. They do things over and above the curriculum, right? So maybe you just go to public lectures or to some exhibition, or you read a book, or you follow some articles on the net or something. Anything, it can be anything which is of value. It doesn't have to be an internship or a project or some research, right? It can be anything which is of value and which you have learned something from those activities. Okay, so it has given you some skills, it has given you some perspectives. So if you have done anything like that, then please do share it. This gives us kind of an indication of how engaged you are with the subject area. All right. Now, where UG personal statements are concerned, the UCAS essay, right? Now, in that, of course, you're applying to more than one university in the same application. So you must not mention the name of the university which you are, which is your favorite university, for example. Maybe King's is the top of your list, but you should not be mentioning that in the essay. But you should tackle the subject area more generally, right? You cannot focus on the course, but on the subject area, right? Again, if you are engaged with the subject, if you do things on your own, if you have some perspectives, that it will be wonderful if you communicate that to us effectively. So if you say, I'm very interested in the subject area, but you also have to back it up with some evidence of that, right? So that is important. So just mentioning that I've been a wonderful student and I'm really interested in this without any evidence, it doesn't, although your marks are there, it doesn't really tell us how kind of involved you are with the subject. Okay. And what else can I tell you? Where the master's program's personal statement is concerned, don't write anything general. You must write a personal statement focused towards King's. And if you are applying in other universities, then write other personal statements. Okay, don't write one personal statement and apply to all the universities. It doesn't work for King's, at least. If you're applying to King's, then you must have a personal statement dedicated to King's. Okay, with information. Let's say, suppose you follow a certain author, and that author happens to be a professor at King's, and you've been following his work or something. Then if you mention that, that is really something interesting to us. It tells us that you kind of, you are with the subject beyond your curriculum. So these things are very interesting to us. And if you've been a super achiever, for example, if you've represented your country, then you must mention that. I have come across students who have, been in the national swimming team, and they have represented India, and so on and so forth. That is a huge achievement in itself. That must be included, although it is not directly related to academics. But when you are achieving at a high level, you develop a lot of perspectives, and also a lot of skills also when you are very good at sports. Maybe you're not achieving it at the national level, but you're very good at sports. You should mention one or two lines as to what skills you have picked up from those activities, which is kind of related to the course. Maybe, for example, if you're applying for a business management course, then if you've been the captain of the basketball team, maybe that experience has taught you how to be a leader, how to take decisions, how to manage a team, and so on, which are all very important in the field, in this field at least. So things like that. Um, so for certain courses, for example, business management courses, all these things are very important, not just academics, your communication skills, your, um, skills where you've been a leader, or you've contributed something, you've done some community service maybe. All these things are very important. Okay. Yeah, so this is where the tuition fees are concerned. We have divided our tuition fees into classroom-based and lab-based for undergrad courses. So obviously the lab-based courses are higher. Medicine is, of course, much higher. Now, usually the courses are of 3-year duration. There are 4-year courses as well. And medicine is a 5-year course. Okay, so fees are to be paid per annum, and you can pay the fees in 2 installments every year. Now, apart from the fees, this is the tuition fee. There's also something called the living expenses, which is usually, I would say, around £12,000. Let's say, I would say 12 lakhs even, now that, every year there's a bit of increase. So let's say 12 lakhs per year you will have to spend, because you'll be staying, close to central London or in central London. Now, of course, because we are in central London, the cost of the accommodation is slightly higher. So usually I would say it's about 2 lakh rupees higher than if you were staying beyond central London. All right. Now, where postgrad tuition fees are concerned, again, it varies depending on what you are studying. So humanities and arts courses will cost less. Science courses cost a little more. Management courses, finance courses are very expensive. We have finance courses which are like £33,900, and we certain are, yes, dentistry courses. Dentistry courses, the PG level is also very expensive. All right, so these are the course fees. Where scholarships are concerned, UG has, we used to have a couple of scholarships earlier, but I don't see it happening this year. Maybe it'll come out later, I'm not sure. But right now, I don't have any information on that. Postgraduate courses, we are offering, we are offering 9 £25,000 scholarships. So we have 9 faculties, and this is going to be offered to one person per faculty. And the amount of scholarship is high, it's 25,000. So if your course fee is £25,500, then it will be covered. All right, you just have to pay the amount that is extra. And where the IOPPN means Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology and Neuroscience. Now, for for these courses, there are lots of courses in this faculty. We're offering scholarships of 1,000, 2,000 and 5,000 pounds. All right. Now, there are applications and deadlines for both of these. To avail this scholarship, you have to put in a complete application by 31st of March. Complete application for the course. All right. So complete application means that you have submitted your mark sheets, your essay, your 2 recommendation letters, and the English test. So sometimes, you can of course apply for the course without your English test, but you still have to submit the English test by 31st of March if you want to be considered for the scholarship. All right. And then there's another deadline for the King's International Scholarship by 15th of May. You have to apply for the scholarship because you have to be offered a place. All right. But where the psychology scholarship is concerned, you don't have to wait for the offer of a place. As soon as you apply for the scholarship, for the course, you can also apply for the scholarship. You don't have to wait for an offer to be made to you. Okay. Now, apart from these, the UG courses, the PG courses, we also have pre-university summer school, which is for those who are in standard 11th and 12th. So they can be part of, they can have a taste of King's and living in London while doing a course. So usually these are about 2-week courses, and you can choose any of these subject areas and be a part of King's and try to understand really what it is to study in a big university. We also have another summer school, which is for students who are doing their graduation graduation. For example, if you are, let's say, studying in Mumbai University, you're in the second year and you want to do a summer school, then this is what you can do. Summer school is something which is done, this particular summer school is done by those who are also those who have also completed their graduation. So there is no upper age limit as such. Okay. So usually these happen in summer, which is July, August. And again, for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Undergraduate summer school is usually for 3 weeks. Accommodation, well, of course, if you're going to be studying there, you will have to stay somewhere. So definitely there's accommodation. There's accommodation in zones 1 and 2. So some could be really close to our campuses. So because it's a city campus, so there are, campuses spread across, around central London. So similarly, the accommodation are separate buildings. So you don't study inside the you don't live inside the academic buildings. They are like flats or houses, halls of residences outside the academic buildings. So it could be a 2-minute walk to a half-an-hour bus ride also, or even the underground train. So anyway, the transport in London is highly organized. I mean, nobody really complains about reaching a place as such. So the distances you'll be able to see in the website that our 13 accommodations, how far are they from the various campuses, how to reach the campus, and so on. What are the rents? Usually the rents, they range from 200 to 150 to 250 per week. This is managed by the university. Okay. Now we also offer private accommodation. Now it's not that we offer, we can kind of give you information about private accommodation, which is like recommended by the university, because there are a host of private players, right? We don't obviously recommend everyone. So the ones which are safe and usually taken by students, and they kind of have all the quality controls in place and so on. We recommend a few private accommodations, and you can apply to them also. Now, if you're applying to university managed accommodation, then of course there's a deadline, there's a particular process. You need to submit your application and you have to wait for the outcome. Now, if you apply by the deadline, you'll definitely be given accommodation. Now, when you're applying, you can give your top 4 choices, but and accommodation tries its best to put you in one of those choices. All right, but be rest assured, it's accommodation is good out there. Some are close, some are a little further away, but that's how students live. Uh, so that is how it's going to be. So this is a map of our accommodation. For example, you can see Urban Nest, Westminster Bridge, there's Julian Markham House. See, they are quite close. Then we have the Denmark Hill campus, and close to that is the Champion Hill residence. Then there's Urban Nest, Hoxton right at the top, near, not too far from Strand campus. So similarly, there are, you can have a look at the map, and when you're applying for accommodation, refer to the website first and then apply. All right. I'm not sure why this is there, but I think this is probably telling you that please study in UK and no reason to study anywhere else. To enjoy your education experience, possibly UK will give you the best deal. In Donald Trump's words. All right. All right. So this is it actually. And this is my email ID. You can note it down, and I will just take you to Shweta's email ID as well. All right. So here we have both of our email IDs. There's Dolan, that's me, and Shweta, my colleague. So depending on where you are located, you can write to us. All right. Okay, now I'm happy to take on some questions.
Right, Dolan, thank you very much for that and for taking the time. It's quite comprehensive overview of all the courses, departments, entry criteria. We have some questions which have come in. One of them is regarding the scholarships, which you mentioned, of up to £25,000 for 9 faculties. Are those international scholarships or India scholarships, and what is the typical entry or eligibility for that?
All right, so they are international scholarships, okay?
Right.
And they're offered to only international students. And eligible, there is no specific eligibility, but of course there are conditions. You have to have an offer of a place, right? Then only you can apply for the scholarship, right? Essentially, we look at the overall potential. Like I was saying, if you have the highest score, it is not a guarantee of offer for the course or for the scholarship. So it's your overall potential, how you have, how you come across as a student, how engaged you are with the subject, because sometimes students do very interesting things, they have their own business or website, or they do wonderful community service, or some very interesting project that they have done or something. What really clicks with the scholarship committee is something that I'm not sure, because there's a committee and they will look at the overall application for the course as well as for the scholarship, right? Because you have to write a few answers and questions. There are some questions and then you need to answer those. And the personal statement. That's why the personal statement is so important, because it helps, towards admission for the course as well as for the scholarship.
And is there a separate application for the scholarships, or is it included
Yes.
in the application?
No, it's a separate.
For the course?
Separate. It's a separate application.
And is there a deadline
Yeah. The deadline for the King's International Scholarship is
for that?
15th
Is
May.
that also the 31st? Yeah, the deadline.
No, there are two
Okay.
aspects to it. There are two aspects to it. In order to be eligible for the scholarship, you must have put in a complete application for the course by 31st of March. So
Right.
that means your English scores should also be submitted by 31st of March. If that is done, then you have to apply for the scholarship by 15th of May. So those who already have an offer,
Right.
yeah, and the English is submitted,
Mm-hmm.
they are eligible to apply for the King's International Scholarship. Now, those who are going to be studying any of the psychology, neuroscience, or psychiatric courses, we have several courses, I think 25 courses or so in that faculty. So have a look as to which, whether it matches with the course that you're applying to, and then apply for the scholarship again. You should be applying by 31st of March. That is actually the first deadline. I believe there's going to be another deadline beyond that in April.
Right.
But
given that,
yeah, but that is only for the psychology courses.
Only for the psychology. Given that some universities may have not released the final year results.
No. You don't have to have an unconditional offer. You don't have to have an unconditional offer.
Right.
Apart from your final
Simply
scores.
apply.
Apart from your final scores, you have to submit everything else.
Right. And as you said, there are nine departments or 9 faculties which offer that.
No, so it is so it is given like this: 1 scholarship per faculty. So there are 9 scholarships.
I see. And does that include management, law?
Yes, every faculty.
Every faculty. Okay.
I mean, see, business school has its own faculty. Law is under SSPP, Social Science and Public Policy. So it's not just law. There's going to be IR. There's going to be war studies. There are going to be other courses as well.
Right. Okay.
And every year we have seen that Indian students have won at least 1 or 2 scholarships out of the 9. So
out of the 9.
There is a possibility that students from India will be awarded. I mean, in the sense that, Indian students are good, right? So winning 2 out of 9 is a big achievement.
Right. And the emphasis is largely on academics, but to some extent, or also on the overall profile, as you mentioned.
Overall profile. I mean, there is no, again, it's not like, okay, 50% academics, 50% anything else. No, it's again the overall thing. But we do, when you're applying for the course, we expect an academic interest, right? So we don't look at your personality, isn't it? We look at the academic interest. So that is what we're looking at, really, essentially, even for the scholarship. So, but that academic interest doesn't mean that you will not have skills, good skills, developed from other activities, right? Which may or may not be directly linked to that subject area. So, like I was saying, that you may be a very good athlete and you have developed tremendous skills out of that activity, which you are now going to utilize in that subject area. It all really boils down to how you convey it.
Right.
So the personal statement is also cannot be too long. We get flooded with applications, right? And if you write beyond the page, it gets long. Although we say 2 pages is okay, but I think 1 page, after listening to all the academics and the tutors, I feel that they prefer a page because they have understood the student within a page. They don't really need to look beyond that. So obviously that means it needs to be crisp, it needs to be concise, to the point, back it up with evidence. If you say something, back it up with an example, right? So very, that the way you write is also a test. It gives you a sense of the maturity of the thought process of the student, the communication ability, the writing skills, English ability, and so on. So all this is important.
Right. We have some questions on the UCAS deadline, which has since passed, but whether any courses or which courses typically could go into clearing in case students, for example, we have one student, Akib Bashir, who's still interested for undergraduate in physics, and inquiring whether they can still apply.
I think physics, I need to check it really. I think physics is still open. Usually business management, psychology, they close by 15th of, and also as well as law, they close by 15th of Jan. So if you give me some time, I'll look it up and maybe I'll forward the information to you. I'll do one thing, Ranveer. If you get more queries, if you just send me an email with the queries, just kind of quickly answer you over an email.
Yes, I think that's
share it with your students. Yeah.
Useful. I know you've taken some of your time. Perhaps just 1 or 2 queries if you have time. Are the scholarships eligible for undergraduate students at all?
Sorry?
Are any of the scholarships eligible for undergraduate students?
Not as yet. I would say that, I mean, the psychology scholarship came out really late. So I was surprised that it has come out at all. So since it has, maybe we should give a little more time till we say that no, nothing is available.
And you mentioned King's views applications from different universities, for example, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, somewhat differently from other prestigious and recognized universities. Is it possible to get any indication as to what would be the cutoff? Would it be typically for a postgraduate application a first division, 60% plus? Or would you consider a 58 or a 59 for, say, courses in law, management?
No chance.
So it has to be a first division, 60% plus, is it?
Yeah, in some cases it's 65, in some cases 67, in some cases it's 70. So it varies, yeah.
Right. Given that even Kolkata and Delhi or even Mumbai, for example, even perhaps
we have a non-standard system of marking. I mean, we follow a non-standard system of assessment for certain universities like Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, and so on. But again, it depends on the course, right? For certain courses, we'll ask for 60. Certain courses, we'll ask for 65. Yeah.
Right.
So we need to see what the student is wanting to study and where the person has studied.
Right.
Because Mumbai University has different scales.
Right. Because
if I just tell you a percentage, then it will not cover everything. Because we also look at the GPA, we also look at the grades. Some universities have grades, right?
Right.
And some universities have different GPA scales. So if I understand what scale that the university is following, now, Mumbai University is really complex because within Mumbai University, there are 2-3 different types of scales. There are autonomous institutions which follow a scale of 4. Then there are certain universities which follow grades, which others follow other GPA scales. So it's quite mind-boggling. So we need to see. We need to take one case at a time.
Yes. So actually, this was a student from Mumbai, 58% BCom honors, keen for MSc Finance. So as you said, you'll have to consider the individual institution. And
for Mumbai University, I think we'll ask if it's a percentage that the student is getting a 65, I think, or a 67 is what we will probably ask for. But I have to check it up. I'll have to check this up.
Right.
You can send me, queries.
Yes,
like
any
this.
further queries? Yes, yes. So just briefly to summarize, law and management complete application deadline is 31st March 2019.
Yes.
And all other courses for on a first come first serve basis thereafter. Still encourage applications thereafter.
The thing is that it's difficult to say. Certain courses like digital asset and media management, it might close by 31st of March. So it's good to kind of find out if the course is still open. But usually business management and law closes, and some others also may close. Sometimes last year we got a huge number of applications for data science, right? For IR, right?
Yes.
And in some courses, and there's so many courses, which you can't kind of straight away rattle off. So it's good to check and then apply.
Right. I think it was the bulk of the queries that we had as of now. I think we're running out of time. We've already gone over 1 hour.
Yeah. We did start a bit late, so I think if you have one more question, I can still take it if you want.
Just inquire with anyone in case anyone is still interested in further. I think most of the inquiries we got were around scholarships and entry criteria, including perhaps importance of GMAT.
No, so we don't ask for GMAT for any of our courses as yet. I couldn't hear that.
Right. So a first division from say Lady Shri Ram, Delhi University, 70% plus, with good profile and internships, could be eligible in principle for the MSc Management.
Yeah. I think 65 is what we probably ask for. 65 or 67. Yeah.
Right.
I think Shweta will probably be able to guide you better with Delhi University. Yeah.
And is there any preference given to early applicants or a later applicant from a diversity point of view?
No.
Or are all decisions made?
If you for UCAS, if you apply by 15th of Jan, then your application is going to be looked into, right?
Right.
For postgraduate courses, if you apply by 31st of March, definitely your application is going to be looked into. Beyond that, where UCAS applications are concerned, we only look at the very best of applications. For the courses which are open.
Right. So if anyone who had applied in December, for example, for the MSc Management may not have or would have an equal acceptability rate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To someone who applied in mid-March, for example. It's not.
You're talking about postgraduate. Postgraduate course.
It's not a diversity.
Yeah. No, it isn't. But you know what? It is good to apply a little early because, King's is slow. It takes a bit of time to bring out the outcomes. For undergrad courses, sometimes it's quicker. For postgrad, sometimes it's late. It just varies year to year, depending on the volume of applications that we get, right?
Right.
So it's good to apply a little early. Then, if you have your offer, then you can clear your English exam, right? And you can apply for the scholarship, right? If you keep everything at the later stage, then maybe because of the requirement that you need to submit your English also to be eligible for the scholarship, you may not be able to meet that. So it's always good to apply early. Yeah.
Right. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a time limit given for the acceptance of the offer with the deposit?
Yes. I mean, there's a good amount of time. Yeah. I think if you apply early, you get almost 4 months to respond
right.
to. And then as it progresses, it becomes 2 months, 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're given a bit of time definitely to respond.
Right.
Because you have to pay, if you'll be considered confirmed only if you pay the deposit.
Right. I have just one more question, which will get caught from Simar Manchanda, asking about the minimum IELTS required for the UG program.
Which program she's looking at?
Simar, could you advise which program? I'm just sending her a text.
So if it's management, we ask for 7 overall, 6.5 in each.
It's economics.
Management, economics, yes. It'll be 7 overall, 6.5 in each.
7
in
overall
the
with 6.5 in each.
In each, yeah. That in each is also extremely important, because I've come across quite a few students who have achieved 7 overall, but in one section they have achieved 6, and we will not accept that.
Right.
So you have to retake the test or go for the pre-sessional. It's a hassle, isn't it? So it's best to prepare nicely and ensure that you are meeting our requirements where the English is concerned.
Right. I had one more query, which I think has already been answered to. If there's any other further queries, I think otherwise we'll just give everyone an opportunity if they have anything further. So none of now. I think we have answered most of the questions, and some of them are, I think we have already addressed. If I do get any further queries, I'll certainly send you a request for clarification on courses which could potentially go into clearing and which are still open for applications after the 15th January deadline.
Very difficult to say right now which courses will go for clearing. Clearing is quite a time ahead. Usually business management courses, law courses don't go to clearing, usually. But even if it goes, there will be 1 or 2 seats open, and we'll take in the best candidate possible for that. Yeah, but other courses, quite a few, because we have so many courses, quite a few courses are actually on clearing, but you need to obviously have good scores to be eligible for that. Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay. I think on that note, thank you for your time, Dolan. I appreciate the time you've taken. And
my pleasure.